Hey guys, Chris from Hockey Tutorial here, and today is the video that I know a lot of you have been waiting for, and that is the Xtraice home review. Now, we've had these panels in our HQ for some time now. We've been skating on them, we filmed a couple of videos on them, so now it's time to give you our feedback on what we think about the way that they perform, the way that they feel, and just general thoughts from the players that we've had come down to the surface and try it out. Now, the first thing I want to say is I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that these panels feel just like ice, because that would be a lie. It's not the truth. The way these panels feel, and pretty much the consensus that we've gotten from everyone that's been on them, is that it is as close to the on-ice experience that you get when you're skating, when you're shooting, as you're gonna get without actually having ice. These panels are by far the best and the most consistent panels that we've ever used. Now, the first time you step onto them, there is gonna be an adjusting period, because as I said, it doesn't feel like ice, but the second you've been on it for say 2-3 minutes skating around, dribbling a puck, taking a couple shots, it feels better and better with every minute that goes by. The way the panels are constructed, they have a lubricant built into the actual material themselves. And as you're skating on them, because there is a tiny bit of friction that's created with the blade, your blades heat up. As your blades heat up, that lubricant from within the panels is released, and it improves the gliding experience, the general experience that you have on the panels tenfold. That's why the longer you skate, the more your blades heat up, the better the experience feels. You adjust literally within 5 or 10 minutes of skating around, and it's incredibly difficult to come off because you just want to stay on, you just want to keep shooting pucks, you just want to keep skating. Now from there, of course, the big question is how much does it cost? Each of the Xtraice home panels costs $99 US, but they do sell them in packs. So depending on what aspect of your training you want to work on, if it's a general skating, shooting, stick handling with a friend or a sibling, they have different packs that are tailored for different types of use. But one thing that's important to mention is it's critical that you think about the way that you want to use the panels, what aspects of your training you want to develop, and use that information to best decide on which panels and how many panels you want to go for. Of course, if you buy them in one of Xtraice Home's packs, you do save money because the panels are designed to be cost effective if you're buying a complete setup. But that shouldn't deter you from being able to go online or into your local hockey store and picking up individual panels, because if all you want to do is practice shooting in your skates using the same stick you use in games, the same skates you use on the ice, you could benefit from having a very small number of panels, just enough to stand on to be able to rip some shots, and you're still going to be able to practice all of those essential skills that are going to be directly transferable onto the ice because you're using the exact same setup that you would be on the ice. But at the same time, if you're looking to have quite a big or a good sized training facility so you can practice a wide variety of skills with perhaps more than one person, then they do have options for that as well. Just wanted to share this with you quick. On Xtraice Home's website, this is their configurizer. This page helps you to work out exactly how many panels you need, and all you need to do is enter in the measurements of the space that you have that you want to turn into your practice area. It's nice and clean and very straightforward to make sure that you buy the correct amount of panels and to find out exactly how much it's going to cost. This is really easy. Just wanted to share. Now, one thing that is super important for me to mention is knowing players that are in travel teams or young players that play for travel teams, they can be incredibly expensive, paying for not only your season, but also the cost of accommodation while you're away, food, any other extras that you may need. You can pick up an Xtraice home setup that is going to be big enough for you to be able to practice a wide variety of shooting and stick handling skills from the comfort of your own home, garage, or office as many times a day or a week or a month as you want. Now, this total setup cost, from what we've seen from a lot of travel teams, costs less than the price of one season for a junior's travel team package cost or their sign-up fees. Now, when you look at it from that perspective, all of a sudden the panels become incredibly cost effective. Now, this quickly leads on to how long they last. These aren't the sort of panels that are going to be a quick and cheap solution for a short period of time. I like to think of these panels as an investment, not only for the individual hockey player and the nurturing and development of their skill, but also for the family. The particular panels that we have a 6-year warranty and on average will last in excess of 10 years. Now, I haven't come across any other synthetic ice panels on the market that offer this level of performance with that level of durability and warranty. Aside from that, an interesting fact is the panels that we actually have in our HQ were used prior to them being here. These panels are used every single day since they have been here, and there is absolutely zero sign of the product degrading and needing to be replaced anytime soon. We expect to get at least 10 years out of this surface, and then once that period comes, if the top layer of this surface has been chewed up quite significantly, We can just flip it over, use the other side, and get the exact same amount of time from the other side of the panels. We actually did a quick calculation and broke down the cost of these panels over the cost of their lifespan, and it worked out cheaper than having a Netflix subscription. Just to put that into perspective, you're thinking about how long these things are going to last and how much you'll be able to save from having a training facility or a setup in your own home. For any goalies out there wondering if these Xtraice home panels are going to be good for them to be able to practice their goalie-specific movements in training, we had the HT goalie out here earlier on today who was able to practice a variety of different goalie-specific skills. You can do pretty much anything that you do on the ice on the Xtraice home panels. Our goalie, who funnily enough, his name is also Chris, has just picked up some brand new CCM pads, and I got to be the first person to shoot on them on this surface. So this is just a quick example of some of the things that you can do. Whether you have a friend on your surface and you're playing keep away, or if you're just working independently on your own shooting and stick handling ability, or if you're lucky enough to have a goalie in net, the possibilities of what you can do with your own home setup is pretty much endless.
When I first stepped on, I thought it was going to be an absolute nightmare. Couldn't move very well, but as you skid around and start to skate normally and play normally, it feels as close to ice as I think you're going to get without actually being on ice. As we start to do more stuff around the goal, actually goalie-specific type movements, it felt just as good as being on the ice. Shuffling from post to post, T-pushing feels just as good. And I was pleasantly surprised. It's a great training tool. I think if I had it in my place, I'd be practicing all the time. It's great for stretching as well. There's no friction at all on the leg pads, which I was expecting. But moving post to post, typical natural goalie movements, all absolutely the same as it would be on ice.
Something else that's quite important is if you buy these brand new incredible tiles, you're going to be wondering how much do you have to put into maintaining them. Now, the maintenance is incredibly straightforward. We decided to put our setup in an independent room because we wanted to be able to have a net, a big enough space to be able to have at least 1 or 2 players moving around and shooting. Now, the only trick behind the maintenance is to please make sure that you do not walk on it with shoes. Now, that's not because you're going to damage the surface. That's because you don't want to get dirt on the surface. Even though these tiles or these panels look like they're essentially just pieces of plastic, the science and the R&D that goes into creating them is incredibly vast, and there is a lot of technology packed into these white panels. And any dirt or anything that hits the surface that doesn't need to be there will interfere with the performance of the panels. So that's really the only thing you have to do. Just make sure you keep dirt off of them and you keep them clean. These panels can go outside and indoors. If you're going to have them outside, it's always recommended to keep them covered just to keep dirt off of them. But don't be worried about them being beaten up or hit by sunlight, because that will not affect these things. We've actually seen Xtraice home panels in Dubai where during the summertime it hits 40, 50, 60 degrees Celsius. These panels don't warp, they don't bend, they last. That's really what you're paying for in that price point, is the fact that you're getting a product that you can depend on, and the fact that you're getting a product that is going to last as long as the company says it will. At the end of the day, we always have to pay if you want good quality products. And in terms of general day-to-day maintenance, if we've had quite a heavy session on the surfaces, there's been a couple of players stopping and starting, you will see a buildup of shavings from the actual surface. This isn't anything to be worried about. You're not damaging the surface if you see some shavings of the panels coming off. That's completely normal, the same way that you'll see shavings on the ice coming off. All you need to do is, if there's a fair amount of shavings, brush them to one side. We tend to use a vacuum just to make sure that there's minimal shavings on our surface before we use it, and you're good to go. It's really that simple. And a quick side note is white stick tape over stick tape that has various colors like black stick tape or red stick tape also helps to keep the panels clean. It doesn't really affect them again, but I prefer to have the panels looking as white and as clean as possible, and using white stick tape really helps that out. Now, a lot of players that skate on synthetic surfaces always worry about their edges, which is a completely fair point. If you skate on, there's no other way to put it, bad synthetic surfaces, you're gonna rip and destroy your edges. They're gonna be shredded, and you're gonna have to sharpen your skates pretty much immediately after you get off that surface. I've been using these Xtraice panels and then switching straight after that and going onto ice a couple of days after, and I've been doing that back and forth for a few weeks. I've not needed to sharpen my skates. I'm not going to tell you that this synthetic surface wears away at your edges at the same rate as being on the ice. At the end of the day, this is synthetic ice. It does have a tiny bit of friction, which means it is going to eat into your edges much more than ice will. But it's a very tiny amount more. You're not going to find yourself having to sharpen your skates much more. But one thing I will mention is, having used this for a while, I found that if you have slightly sharper edges than you would do on the ice, you have a much better experience on the surface. In terms of setting up Xtraice home panels, we actually shot an entirely separate video of us actually building this space. So I will link that down below in the video description, but it's incredibly easy. It took us a little bit longer because we were filming, and also because the surface of this floor is literally in waves, which meant that we had to do a little bit of DIY to the surface to be able to flatten out the floor before we could lay the panels down, just to make sure that we would have the best experience with them and there wouldn't be any bumps or any hills. But aside from that, attaching these panels together or clipping them together is super easy. So hopefully guys, this has given you a lot more insight into the Xtraice home panels, what these panels can do for you, your teammates, your family that plays hockey. This has probably been one of the best investments that we've ever made as a hockey player, because being able to walk into the office on a daily basis, put on my skates, head out onto the surface and play to my heart's content every single day without having to drive an hour and a half to my closest rink is a massive, massive bonus. It's going to benefit me no end moving forward in the future because I'm going to be able to shoot videos here. If you want more information on the Xtraice home panels, of course, there'll be a link down below in the video description. And of course, if you want to pick them up, if you're in Europe, North America, or any other part of the world, there'll be a link down below in the video description so you can get yours. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Please make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, because we are super close to 100K. Massive thank you to everyone that supported us so far, and we'll catch you in the next one. And remember guys, all the links you need are down below in the video description. Thumbs up, subscribe, take care till next time.